Hey everybody, this is Phyllis Y. Whitley. If you have been spiritually victimized and traumatized, welcome to Spiritology Live. Yes, where I bring my #1 Amazon bestseller book to life. Each episode will be a raw, spiritual, metaphysical, holistic space of consciousness for self-healing as you learn how to break your religious shackles so you can master and manifest your promised land within today. Let's go. Hi, everyone. I am so delighted to be here. This particular episode, we are going to go right into, it might change, how to help you change the man or woman in the mirror. It's not going to be titled that, but just, work with me here. First of all, the last time I talked to you, we discussed a summary of everything. And I was just letting you know because a lot of people can't move forward because they don't believe that money and prosperity is a part of God, of a part of being holy. Because those religious seeds that was put in you, or even your ancestors, it's like you don't equate the both of them together. So you live in misery and you say, if I live in misery, keep my head up high, I'm going to really be rewarded with my promised land in heaven. Now, let's keep it raw here. If you know your Bible, God was trying to get the Israelites to the promised land. Is nowhere in there. He said, close your eyes and wish yourself to be dead. That's the only way you're going to cross over. He literally was taking them to the promised land. He described it. He didn't say when you expire. And truth be told, disciples of Jesus were not poor, nor was Jesus. That's why they had literally auctioned up his outfit when they was going to hang him on a cross because it was worth something. They didn't get on a moped. They didn't get on on a bus. I know that was back then. They literally got on boats. What do you think? What do you think boats cost if you were so poor back then? So the reason why I said it is because you're stuck. And that's why I literally talked about the last podcast. And I inquired all of y'all to go back and just study those podcasts because you should be seeing a difference in your life. When God bless you, he bless everyone you touch. That's why certain entertainers and stuff like that, they can go forth and they can do it. I heard Snoop Dogg saying something on a sports, Undisputed. And, I love sports, all of y'all that, at least, I like all sports, but I love football. And he was on one of the shows and he said he was doing something for the community. That's why I love him. He don't forget where he came from. And unfortunately, so many people who look like me, they get out there and they forget where they come from. Even pastors and people that have churches and mega churches, they forget. And I think that it is a curse when you have a church and then you see that whole street and the whole avenue, that whole block is like abandoned buildings. And you are preaching and people going past the buildings. They got some preachers out there that bought malls, that whatever did so much, that literally have housing for the members in their church. So with that being said, let's go back to Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg was referencing something and, he's trying to get a hockey team and he was referencing something to Skip and he was saying, everything basically I touch turned into gold. He got the Midas touch, Skip said to him. So I'm going to tell you, when you're blessed, when you got that Midas touch. Yes. And that's what that's what I was saying in the last podcast. That's what you want to be able to help people. Well, Miss P, I know so many dirty people that got money and I don't think I want to be them. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because like hang with like. Let me tell you something right now. You ain't hanging out with no millionaires. So why are you gonna sit up there and say, I don't like them? Like what? No, you see something that you really don't know of through the media. I'm not talking about politicians. I'm not talking about that entertainer that got all the money and he turned around and he was, manipulating all the people around him, whether it's female or male. I'm not talking about those because you don't know the truth of that particular story. You have the facts, but you don't know the truth because you don't know them. Are they calling you? See, money and prosperity. Money is just one little thing. Prosperity comes in all kinds of forms. And people don't want to go forth because they stuck. Yes, they are stuck. Well, you know what? Okay. For all those doubting Thomas, let's go. 2 Corinthians 13:5, King James Version. Examine yourself whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own self. Yes, he said, prove your own self. Know ye not your own self? How that Jesus Christ is in you. He said, yes, it's in you. Do you understand? This is my whole podcast. It's what's in you. Yes, you can have those religious seeds in you, but you can wipe it out when you literally have God. Except ye be reprobates. Reprobates. Do you understand what I'm saying? What God was trying to say, what Jesus Christ was trying to say, what God was trying to say. He said, I am my Father one. So if I go back and forth, he said, I am my Father and I am one. Did I say that right? Well, whatever. With that being said, I am and my Father one, and I get it confused because it's like I am that I am. He told Moses, you are everything you put in front of the I am. Well, Miss P, why did you give us that? And why are you talking about the man or the woman in the mirror? Because I want you to look in the mirror and tell me what you see. See, God said you need to prove your own self. Examine who you are. Too many of us, and I talked about this in my time travel, too many of us don't even know who we are because we are so busy pointing to everybody else. I know what you are not, and you are not, and you are not. You know that person ain't so-and-so and so-and-so, and that person is so-and-so. Listen, I'm guilty too because I have stopped some time when people have made me so frustrated, and I spent an hour or two talking about this particular person, giving them more and more of my strength. Particular group, particular people. You have to be very careful who you give your power to. And who you give your power to is who you give the most time to. So won't you give your power back to the Lord? Well, Miss P, I can't be sitting up in my prayer room all day and all night talking. I got to get out there and I got to get food on the table and I got to do. Guess what? You got to what? Hello, food on the table. You got to what? You got to work. You see, these things you need. So let go and look at yourself in the mirror. If you are not prospering don't mean that today you making 100,000 a year and then next week you making 100 million a year. Prospering, that can be good too, but prospering is taking baby steps. You understand what I'm saying? Without letting those two thieves I taught you about in the last podcast. When you don't remember that, you need to go back and listen to it. Yes, someone is there to take away. They want you to stay in the past. Somebody is there to make sure you don't go into the future. But what happens when you look? Let's go back. Help, I'm stuck. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see the person that somebody else said you were? Do you see a failure because somebody told you that when you was young? Do you see a person who can't make it because your mother told you that? Do you see a person who will never be anybody because your siblings told you that? When you look in the mirror, do you see all the people that told you you would never amount to anything because of who you look like? Well, you will never be no good because your daddy was no good. Is it because of your height? You know you too short to be and you know I love football. So I'm set up here and I'm like, wait. Yeah, someone would say you too short to be a quarterback. And then you know how many people prove that wrong? How about your size? How about the people that's a size 0? The ladies that's a size 0 and you just swear you just go, oh, I gotta go ahead. I gotta throw up my food because they said I'm too. You got fired. You got fired, or they didn't hire you as a model, or you work in some places like the casinos in Las Vegas, and they said, and I do believe somebody got a lawsuit years ago. I read about it in reference to getting fired because they wanted a particular size. Now, let me tell you something. You don't want to get mad at them. I mean, in some cases, you have a lawsuit. Go for it. Because there's a proper way that they can do it. But when somebody owns something, it is their choice of who they want to work around them or work under them. Now, I'm not saying they can discriminate, but everybody gonna say that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? They have the power to say no. Now, where they get messed up is when they say yes, and then they go behind your back and talk about it, or they look at you and say, oh, no, I want that person out. That's why they get lawsuits. Thank God for those lawyers that help you. You have the right to choose who's going to be in your circle. I can't get mad at you, and I talked about it in one of my videos. I can't get mad at you if you close the door on me, because this is what I'm trying to teach you about having your promised land. God didn't say, go knock down her promised land or his promised land. Go bang it down and go in there to show them, no. He said, you go get your own. He said, I got a promised land. You go get your promised land. He said, I will be the one that bless you coming in and coming out. If you don't like the way they treat you at the store down the street, go get your own store. If you are sick and tired of paying rent and walking around in the rental properties is just too much, and you know you are a handy woman or a handy man, go flip some houses. Put a deadline on when you're going to stay there and go flip you some houses, make you some money. Some of you are so gifted you can go build your own house. But you sit up there and you point and they said I and some of those people are long gone expired. Because a group of people look at you and say, I just don't like you. I don't like the color of your outside, your book, who you are. When I say book, I'm talking about the outside of you. And that hurts because we know Black Americans have a history with that. But you need to turn around and say, okay, that's on you. You sit there and you worry about my color because I'm not worrying about my color. I got things to do. You don't want me in? I no worry. I'll go do it myself. Do you understand? You are busy getting yourself together and going out there. You are taking charge. You are taking action. Don't get stuck. When you don't like what you see in the mirror, because some of you may say, oh my goodness, when I look in the mirror, or I can hear, all I can see is how somebody took advantage of me when I was young. I just see that person laughing at me and it hurts. You might have been a teenager. Somebody turned around and stole. You might have been in college and somebody stole your essay. You might have been at the job and they stole your idea. You are going to meet these people out there because these people, although they will reap what they sow, take my word for it. You understand what I'm saying? They will weep what they sow. Some of them, they don't weep until they on their last bag. So don't go looking and counting the years. That person is miserable. Hurt people hurt people. Well, Miss P, they look like they having a jolly good time and blah, blah, blah. You don't know when their day will come. And you don't need to worry about it. You need to turn around and you need to look in the mirror and you need to revise all of that stuff that happened to you in your past. First, identify the thief. Is it somebody from your past? Is it somebody trying to steal, keep you in the past so you don't move forward? Or is the thief somebody from the future? Every time you start something, you can't finish. You might not can finish it because you hear that person telling you you will never be anybody. I remember back in the days, I was working at the bank and my manager sat up there and told me she was, I later found out she was having a lot of problems and she got demoted after I wrote a letter to the president of the bank. She wept what she sold and I seen it. But I never forgot she said to me, she was like, you should be thankful for this job that was at that time was paying me pennies on a dollar. And she said, because I don't see where you will ever make any more than this. I looked at that woman and I had to literally just sit there. But I had a plan because I knew what I was doing in that bank and I sat back and documented everything. But I had a plan to get out of there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because she dropped the seed that hurt. You know when they drop in the seed and it really hurts you and it still stay with you. You know when you go to your mama or your grandmama or your grandpappy and they give you that story, they can give you that whole story of how somebody hurt them. Listen, get yourself up. Revise everything. Look back in the mirror and what you see in the mirror is supposed to be what God said you are. Not what anybody else say. Go look at all the scriptures of what he said, and that's your meditation right there. He said, and I had one of the scriptures when he said he would want you to prosper even as your soul prosper. God said you are like a tree planted by the river of water who leaves should not wither, but you should go forth and prosper. Do you understand? You have to replace those old sayings with what God said about you. Well, Miss P, it sounds so easy. No, you take baby steps. Every time that comes to you, replace it. Revise it and replace it. And one thing you don't want to do, if you don't go and say, oh, well, I'm supposed to go get my license here, I'm supposed to do this, and you just don't do nothing, and you sit back. Now, imagine if I would just sit there. And I'm going to tell you something, that lady did get to me because I spent a lot of my years in idle. Not going to the left, not going to the right. I was one of those who just stayed in the past. I remember telling my mother, or my mother telling me, you blessed. You just don't know it. I said, yeah, I know I'm blessed. But I was stuck. I literally was trying to go back in the past. Didn't know what I was doing, but I was trying to go back in the past. I stayed in the past because I was just like, why? Why? With the decisions I made, and that person did me wrong, and why did that person not love me? And am I not good enough? Especially when your own blood act like they don't like you or love you. I was stuck. And I did move forward and I went to school and I was specializing in this and this and that, but I just couldn't see the roses in front of me. Until I stayed in the past so bad, I just got sick. Next thing I know, I'm standing up here. What am I doing? What am I doing in the hospital? What am I doing with treatments? What's going on with me? But you see, I reaped what I sowed. It's a price you have to pay for allowing the enemy of the past. Because if you stay in the past, and you know those people that sat on their porch and rock and just tell you everything that was bad done to them. And then when the neighbor drive up in the Bentleys, they looking, she ain't this and she ain't that, and I could have had that. And you know what? This is funny, but you understand where I'm coming from. And then you turn around and you go to their funeral, and it was nothing. You go to some people, I don't like funerals, because you know what I said. But you have funerals, because you have to see them on TV and stuff like that. And they line up a list of things that this person accomplished in their life. What are they going to say about you? She had kids. He had kids. We think he had some kids. We don't even know if she was a good mother or was he a good father. What are they going to say about you when it's your time? What are they going to write down in the obituary about you? Did you leave anything for the next generation? I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. And I know if you're an older person and you're a grandma, you might say, oh, no, that's wrong. Let me tell you something, Grandma. It is not late. I'm not in my 20s nor 30s. And I'm not going to tell you my age because ain't none of your business. But you understand. I'm doing more at this beautiful, mature age than I ever did when I was in my 30s because I was an idol. I was stuck. Then also, the ones about the future. Now, I wasn't too much stuck about the future. I kept on moving. I didn't even know I was moving. I do believe God was guiding me through because I just didn't want to listen. But what I'm saying to you, next time you look in the mirror, make sure you see the good version of yourself. And stop playing the old records of people constantly telling you you'll never be nobody. Now, what happened? I believe that manager that I had got demoted or they sent her somewhere else. And I myself, I'm here with you. I'm a best-selling author. I'm a podcaster. I'm a mentor. I'm a counselor. I pretty much think that I'm doing downright a little bit good. And I know that, listen, I'm a New Yorker and you heard how you get what I'm saying? I have dreams and desires. I'm in my promised land and God is teaching me how to cultivate it. That's what you all need to learn how to do. You need to get out of your stuckness. And you need to look and change if you don't like where your life is going. If you don't like where your life is at, you need to change that man or that woman in the mirror. Yes, the late Michael Jackson knew exactly what he was saying when he wrote those lyrics. Change it. But you notice it's your job. So don't sit on the sideline, females. I need somebody who's going to love me. No, what you're really saying is you want somebody who's going to come in and change your life because you don't do anything. You're totally idle. You don't know how to clean. You don't know how to cook. You don't know how to move forward. You don't know how to balance your books. Hello. Well, why don't you go ahead and change what's in the mirror so that when you meet the next person, when you meet your life mate don't have to say, oh my God. It goes both ways. Men, don't go to a woman and you have nothing. Some of y'all, okay, we know that certain men are going to jail for the wrong reason and then they give them, a long sentence. And I feel for you. I pray for you. But don't come out. You gotta, and some of you come out and you manipulate the woman like it's her fault that you went to jail. Be careful with that, females. Because if he don't understand that he need to change what he see in the mirror, then he gonna go right back in. And this is especially for those who are incarcerated. Look in the mirror and say, who told me that I was this low that I had to go and do the things that I did to get me in here? Who told me that I'm going to get a sentence that's this long? Don't you know you need to go back to the Father and develop that relationship with that Father so he can teach you how to live in your promised land? And I'm telling you, he's a spirit. He can turn around if you have that relationship with God, and he can turn around, and I kid you not. And the people don't even know when they wake up. The judge don't even know when they wake up why they reduce your sentence. That's why my next podcast is going to be your verbal agreement. You need to have an agreement with God. If you know that I know that I know. Because when you know it, Even though somebody will say one thing, you don't know when in the midnight hour God is going to go visit them in their sleep. Some of them might not wake up. You get what I'm saying? Some people do so much dirt to other people. You don't know, because he can do things that you literally, you can't do physically. So there's no need to go get the gun and kill somebody. There's no need to do all of that and go stab somebody. You go and have a relationship and you cultivate in your spirit, feed your spirit, and I guarantee you things will start moving that you didn't even think. You start meeting people that you were like, what? I was just thinking about that. You want to be an investor, and all of a sudden you start meeting people that's investing. You want to be a real estate agent, all of a sudden you see a school come up and say, hey, we're going to charge this amount. Do you see what I'm saying? You want to be a cook, and all of a sudden you know about so-and-so want to cook. And then some of y'all like, I just don't see that. I don't see that. Well, see, you have a problem. You have a thief in your face. You have a thief that is blocking your future. Or you have a thief that is back in your past. And go back to my podcast, because I talk about the two thieves. One was on each side of Jesus, but see, who was Jesus? Jesus was today. He was the now. He was the present. That's who you want to be. The best version of yourself. Some people probably said, I said something else, but it could be virgin, because it's the new you. The new you. That's not the old you. Take off the old. Did not Paul say that? Take the old you out the way and walk forward, and then you will not be stuck. See, I taught you how to recognize the thieves in some of the podcasts I had before, but now you know. Look in the mirror. Who do you see? What God said I am. Forget the noise and the naysayers. They are there for one reason, to get you stuck. Now that you know this, I thank you. I thank you for coming into my space. What's new? It is so much that's being manifested, so much that God is moving. Don't try to keep up with the Jones. Let me tell you something. God will move you. He will orchestrate your steps, but you won't know that if you don't communicate with him. So thank you for buying the book, those books that y'all have. Guess what? I didn't even say it last time. I'm on so many different places. I'm trying to get everything on English Sparks, because they distribute all over the world. But I am on, oh my God, Google. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. It's just different stores that manifest the book, distribute the books. And I do believe one of them is have something to do with Walmart. So if you see my book in Walmart, I know it's online. And I'm going to bring the list. It's so many different places I've been trying to put my book besides Amazon. So if you happen to walk into a store and you see some of my books, take a picture and send me a note, and you will get a free t-shirt. Thank you so much for everybody. And you know what? I didn't say it last time because I was in a rush. But remember, please remember, if loving yourself is right, you do not want to be wrong.